live and back with Spirit Guides Paranormal. How you guys doing this evening?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, everybody.
So, if you'd like to, you can introduce yourselves.
I'm Donnie.
I'm Christy.
Timothy.
Marlon.
Okay. So, I'm going to start out with a question that I generally ask everyone, and it's for viewers that haven't found any information on you or don't know you. And basically, it goes this way. What got your interest and got you started in the paranormal investigations and the paranormal itself? So we can start any direction you want here.
Well, Donnie, do you want to start?
I started seeing ghosts at the age of 5 or 6. And then I started cleansing homes for negative energy and kept bumping into spirits. And then Christy got me some gear. We got some like-minded people, sensitives, and then we took it from there.
We just started. One day I was trying to figure out what to get him for one of the holidays. I think it was his birthday a number of years back, and got him K2. A K2 and one of the EMF meters that goes whoop, whoop, whoop.
Gauss meter.
Yeah, Gauss meter. Started from there. Some of our friends were interested. We've turned over members over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And
gained some new ones.
We met Tim and Merlin, and you guys got started a little differently. Y'all go ahead.
How'd you get started, Tim?
Well, kind of watching TV, paranormal shows, and then somehow got lucky and got with another team, and that's how things got started. Like I say, everybody else, they usually start young, they see things. I never seen nothing young and all, just got a little bit older, and then I started experiencing more. So I kind of got into the paranormal.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, it's me.
Yeah, it's you, Merlin.
Okay. I can tell you that I don't remember a time in my life that I did not believe in ghosts. I saw my first one when I was about 10 or 11 that I clearly remember. Scared the hell out of me. Packed up, moved to Virginia one day, and accidentally bumped into a team that was doing it, and I wanted to see an investigation, a real one.
Right.
So I tagged along with some friends and ended up on a team, and then moved to another team, and here we be.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's always kind of paralleled a bit of a spiritual journey for Donnie and I. We've it's the universal quest to want to know what's going on the other side, and we definitely fit into that. I think we mentioned that we're also Reiki masters, and that is another part of the spiritual journey. I'm sorry, I'm going to adjust our lights a little bit here.
No, that's okay.
I'm not sure what is going on.
You touched something.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Blinded by the light.
So, what kind of investigations have you guys done?
Oh gosh, we do both private homes and we do the big venues that everybody else does.
Okay.
I think for the big venues, we go in out of an abundance of curiosity and try to get clean evidence and communicate as much as we can. It's a little bit of a different process with the private homes. When we get called in, we try to figure out what's going on for folks. And that we don't make videos out of. We've got videos of our public investigations, but not so much the private ones. I think our bottom line is trying to help out both the living and the dead in that situation.
Right.
A lot of times, if they just understand what's going on in the house, there can be a meeting of the minds. We've been able to the minds.
We kind of bridge the gap.
We bridge the gap between the two, and in most cases, it works out okay.
In some cases, it doesn't.
And in some,
well, then it's we have to go.
People sell their house and move.
Oh yeah! Before they even gave us a chance to help us out too much, we did have some folks sell their house and move. But we've had some experiences with the helping people out.
Right. So, Where are you guys located at?
Virginia.
Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
On the skirts thereof. We're in the suburbs.
We're in, well, the southernmost reaches of Northern Virginia.
We're out in the sticks. We can't tell you exactly where because the inner sanctum doesn't want to be infiltrated at any time.
Oh, that's quite all right. Quite all right. So, being in Virginia like that, have you guys ever went to Roanoke and did any investigation there?
No, we
We've been to
haven't.
Radford, which is down there. I'm sure you've heard of St. Albans Sanitarium.
Yeah, I believe I have.
Oh, St. Albans is a wicked one. That's not too far from Roanoke.
So, in all your investigations, what's your most favorite one that you've done?
Oh, goodness.
Oh, now that's two different teams answering that question.
Yeah, it sort of is. Tim and Merlin are relatively new to Spirit Guides. So we've been in a lot of different places. We have two other members who are not with us tonight.
That's Krista, our pendulum queen, and Richard, our historian.
Yeah.
They couldn't be with us. Krista's still recovering from a knee.
Yeah, she broke her knee real bad.
She's been out and she's got another accident.
Yeah.
And we wanted to. We actually hoping she'll be ready for Hinsdale.
Yeah, we're going up to Hinsdale House in April. But to go back to your question, gosh, one of my favorite public places was Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. That place was amazing.
Trans-Allegheny Lunatics Asylum?
Yeah,
Yes.
I keep forgetting you guys aren't anywhere near here.
Try to say that 3 times fast now.
No.
It's a giant place. Well known for lobotomies, unfortunately.
Just a place for you, Mark.
Yeah, whatever. It might calm you down a little bit.
The building is legit half a mile long, and it has 4 stories and 2 hallways going down each side. So you can very easily hike 10 miles while you're investigating that place.
But the hallways loop. You can go through one ward, then you go to another ward. You can't get back out until you go back around
all the way back
to the center.
It's incredible.
Oh, wow.
In an 8-hour night, you better have some comfortable shoes.
Yeah. What about you guys? What's your favorite place?
Probably St. Albans. That kind of got to me. And she can tell you it got to me. There's one spot in St. Albans I kind of memory lost. That I kind of got ran up on. And then when I kind of walked away and then I kind of looked back, looks like an 8-foot shadow figure standing at the doorway. Yeah. And then when we kind of left and kind of decompressed, I don't remember talking to Marilyn on the way out. She said, and I talked to you and talked to Brad. I don't remember.
You don't remember that?
No, I just remember going down to the house and kind of decompressed, but that part I don't remember.
That's not cool.
So that's kind of somewhat interesting. Kind of remember, kind of let you go, oh, I know that. I go right back to do it again. No problem.
It's kind of interesting.
And that happened in broad daylight too.
Well, not all hauntings happen in the evenings or at night. It can happen any time of the day.
That's right.
We've got places around here that people see stuff all the time, and it's a lot of times it's during the day.
Hello, Dale.
So, Merlin, how about you?
My favorite haunted place.
Well, not just your favorite haunted place, your favorite investigation you've done.
My favorite investigation you've done. Well, I didn't officially investigate it, but I would have to say that it was my own home back in Kansas City, Kansas. It was built before the Civil War. It was the second oldest home in KCK. And I would describe it as being a ghost frat house.
Ghost frat house.
A ghost frat house, yeah. We had several ghosts running around there, including we had our house ghost Philip, who very loudly announced his name to us one day. Then we had a murderer that lived in the back of the house upstairs to the point that no one could go in those rooms. We had the ghost of a Scotty dog, an old lady that used to tuck my husband in and put him to bed at night. And then we had a little girl who would occasionally scream mama in the hallway repeatedly.
Interesting.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of them, so I guess that's kind of investigating. But I would really say there was another place, but it's a private property and I can't talk about it. But it was off the charts. Just the hauntings in that place. The ghost had never encountered people before coming in and investigating, and they were really willing to talk and interact with you.
That's
they were very
cool.
excited about it. So
what kind of...
How would you sleep at night in a place like that with that kind of activity, you know?
Our house ghost, Philip, he was on guard all the time. He actually woke me up several times when there were things going on in the house that he felt needed my attention. I have a very clear memory of waking up one night and watching him walk through the bedroom door, walk over to the bed, lean down, and right in my ear, he told me, "It's a good thing that I'm awake at this hour." And I kind of laid there for a little while, and I'm like, I better get up and go see. Well, I got up, started down the stairs, and I looked, and our front door had a funny lock on it. And if you didn't latch it properly, the door wouldn't lock. It wouldn't close. And it was after 3 o'clock in the morning, and our front door was standing wide open.
Oh, wow.
So I'd say he kept things pretty calm around the house when stuff was going on. But you know, we had cooperation in our house between the ghost and the living, and we had rules. No touching. Yeah, no touching. I didn't like that. And don't play with the electricity or the electronics. Other than that, they can just do whatever they needed to do. You know, just don't drive me crazy about it.
Well, at least it was an intelligent haunting.
Yeah.
Sounds a little protective too.
Yeah. Philip sounds like he was a little protective of you. Well, no. Did you have any of them that were actually like what you would call a residual, which was like a video on repeat?
Caught in a loop.
Who's she talking to?
You, I think. Yeah.
We believe the Scotty dog was he was an echo. I never saw him do anything but stand in the hallway. And then we had an incident that we called the fight. And it happened every fall about the same time. It went on for a couple of weeks, and it sounded like someone had broken into our house and was tearing the bedroom apart upstairs. I mean, glass breaking, furniture being dragged around, you know, things hitting the walls. We'd run upstairs, nothing. And then it would just stop. As soon as you open the hallway door, there was no more sound. It would stop. So we think that was a residual from a murder that happened in the house. The original owner, as the story went, had murdered a priest that he thought was having an affair with his wife. So,
oh, that's nice.
Yeah, the house had it had some crazy stuff going on in it, but
its history.
Yeah, it had its history, and I was used to it, and we pretty much had everything under control. You know, and if it did get out of control, I'd threaten to smudge everybody. So,
smudge you.
Yeah, I smudge you.
Yeah. Now, Dale says it sounds more like a poltergeist.
Poltergeist than a ghost.
Than a ghost.
The fight was, I mean, you could definitely hear two people upstairs stomping around and throwing things and doing all that. So I think really rather than a poltergeist, because it never broke anything. There was never anything out of place, but you could hear it happening. But you'd go check and there was nothing. You know, the room was exactly the same as it was before. So I think we were hearing a
Classic residual.
yeah,
Yep.
just a repeat of when the murder took place, because that would have been the master bedroom at the time that the house was built.
Right. So, what kind of equipment do you guys use?
Oh, we got all the junk.
Well, what are you using junk for then? Come on.
Well, you know, I'm kind of at a point where I'm so on the equipment, but I like having both equipment and our own senses. You guys may know. That's Timmy's phone.
All right, now I'm gonna interrupt you. We have a rule: if your phone goes off and people can hear it, you got to answer it. And tell whoever's on it that they're on the air.
It's the FBI.
That's it. It's the
Scully and Mulder want him.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hopefully, we don't get flagged for that. Being from the X-Files.
Oh, no, it's a ringtone. It's a ringtone.
I know.
The whole song.
Wasn't our fault. We didn't do it.
We've got all the usual stuff, and we've got an SLS, and we use EchoVox a lot. Sometimes it works great, and sometimes it just makes a lot of noise, and all the blinky lights. And do you guys know Merlin can see the ghosts? She can see them.
She admitted to it.
Yeah, she. Every once in a while, you can drag it out of her. No, it's true. And when we get all the equipment going along with what Merlin's seeing and we're feeling, because all of us are sensitives, and then that's cool. That's the best thing.
Well, main thing is intuition.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Follow your intuition. Follow your intuition.
Right. Well, it is cool to have a bunch of
dowsing rods and stuff when it's so noisy we can't get an EVP. It's old school, and a lot of spirits understand it.
Yeah, they do.
That's good. That's good. So, have you ever caught an intriguing EVP?
Oh yeah.
Oh, quite a few.
The very first one we ever got was probably one of the best ones. We went and investigated a private home on near the Brandy Station battlefield. I know you guys aren't around here, but that's where the largest cavalry battle of the Civil War was fought, and we were in a place that had been a field hospital. And we really didn't think we got anything. We came home and started going through our recorder footage and whatnot and heard very, very clearly. At the time, there were 3 women in the room, and Donnie was off smudging the house because the owner had asked him to smudge, and he was the only man in the house. And we had been talking, and we felt somebody in the room with us. And we got home and listened to the footage and heard clear as day, one of the best EVPs we ever got, a man with a southern accent saying, "Who's in the room?"
Who's in the room?
And that just blew us away because we didn't think we had gotten anything. But we learned from that moment on to introduce ourselves and be polite, because we are standing in the man's living room, quite literally talking to him as if we had a right to be in his living room, and he didn't even know who we were.
The house dated to the 1700s.
Yeah.
And his children were buried in the backyard.
Yep. It was a real good learning experience for us. And so we go out of our way to be really polite unless we have a real good reason not to be.
When I get thrown downstairs, then game's on.
So, have you ran across any malevolent spirits?
Any what kind?
The kind that are just mischievous or trying to cause trouble.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why I meant when I got thrown off the staircase, the game was on.
We were at another house.
Wait a second, Donnie. Thrown off the staircase?
Yeah, actually, I'm no longer allowed to go rogue. I used to do all the base readings in the house prior to us going in. Well, we were called in for apparent nasty. So I go in, I'm doing base readings with everything, and I'm coming down to announce what I found. And before I could get to the bottom of the steps, I was launched off the stairs a couple feet, landed. It's so funny. I'm behind the couch, and Christy's looking in through the sliding glass door, looking for me.
I had a
And I'm on the
feeling at
ground.
that moment that there was something happened. So I looked in the door. I didn't like the fact that he was in there by himself anyway. And there he is on the ground. Like, oh, God. Whoops. That's the last time you are going off.
After 2 days, we did get the entity out of the house.
Yeah.
Without
Wow.
being down the stairs again.
Without being thrown down the
No more
stairs.
throw downstairs, and they won't allow me to go by myself no more.
Yeah. You end up sprawled on the floor. It's a bad
Well,
plan, man.
it took
It's
me
a
a while
bad
to get
plan.
that limp out of my ankle.
Well, you know.
So you got any anything upcoming that you're going to be doing?
Well, you know, COVID's kind of put the crunch on everything, but we are
Yeah,
going to Hinsdale
Why we're
House.
doing this right now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we're going to Hinsdale House and Wildwood Sanitarium, which is up in northern New York. You guys probably heard of Hinsdale, haven't you?
I don't recall hearing about Hinsdale, but the
No.
Wildwood Sanatorium, I believe I've heard of that one.
Okay, they're both pretty close to each other. I guess we're kind of caught in East Coast world over here, and the things that are really well known aren't necessarily as well known where you are.
There's nothing wrong with East Coast world because if you think about it, that's where the original 13 colonies were based out.
Right. And then you got the most of the Civil War played out there, and
Exactly. Most of the Civil War played out there too.
and then you got one of the longest feuds in the United States history is in that region.
The Hatfield and the McCoys.
Twice. Hatfield, yeah. Hatfield.
That's what I think it's West Virginia. Isn't
I
it?
think so.
Yeah. That's
A little
West
further
Virginia.
up.
But still,
Yeah, it's still
part
in
of
that
East
that
Coast area.
there.
Yeah.
We are right in the thick of the Civil War
Mhm.
stuff where we are.
Our town, or the biggest town nearby, is Warrenton, and that changed hands in the Civil War so many times. Mosby, they tried to catch him visiting his wife. He crawled out the window and hung out in an oak tree until they left, and he crawled back in the window and then
Yeah.
went to join his troops.
Yep, and that's all right up the street from us. Where I mentioned we did our first investigation in Brandy Station, that was a huge Civil War area. There was a great big battle there. And we actually run a Paracon at the Fleetwood Church, which is right close by, as a fundraiser for the Fleetwood
That's
Church.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, do you? Oh, hello from Utah there. Sorry, I glanced over. So, do you guys try to bring people in from all over for that Paracon, or do you just local
Yeah.
stuff?
We've had some
We had,
big names, small names. Everybody just
yeah,
of late
we do.
want to
I
be
mean,
a part of it.
we had mentioned Hinsdale. There's a group called Ghostbinders with Daniel Class, who owns Hinsdale and Wildwood. I believe
He's part of that one.
Yeah, he has. I think both of them.
Well, they're no video space, right?
But they're on. I don't know. Some of the
They're on Vidi.
Vidi. They're on Amazon. They're on something that's on Roku channel. I don't know. Anyway, we got them. We've got mostly the East Coast folks, but it's
Okay.
gotten pretty big.
Oh, that's good. That's good. How long have you been doing it?
2 years. We're
Paracon 2 years. We were actually helping the church prior with little small gigs. And then her daughter was going to get married.
all right. Well,
At the time, we usually do these things. So she's like feeling guilty, like, can we do a Paracon? So I contacted some friends,
well,
and then it just went.
I know. I was thinking,
And
well,
there
we
it is.
can't usually do our small
Yeah.
fundraiser. This isn't a working church, by the way. It's sitting right on the edge of the
Falling down.
battlefield, and it's next to another very historic place. And we were helping the guy who owned it make some money for it. So I got to thinking, well, we can't do it this year because my daughter's getting married, and I felt all guilty. And I thought, well, we know a lot of people in the paranormal field now. Maybe we could get some of them together and do a big date on a different day. And it turned into a Paracon. It actually turned into a pretty good size
It's so
Paracon.
freaky. It happened in less than a week. We had speakers and everything
Yeah.
else.
That's
And
pretty cool.
We met these two guys prior to, but they were there.
Yep.
So, question from
Here.
one of our viewers: how do you find new places to investigate, and how do you decide which ones to do?
We are blessed that there are a lot of places around us. And we were just talking about the Civil War thing. There's a lot of very old stuff around us that allow investigations, allow public investigations. And then there's a lot of private homes around us too that do it too.
Yeah, they entrust us to come see what they got going on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
How do
So-
we
But
choose which ones
most
to
of
do
the time, what we do is like they do these group investigations of large places, and we kind of sneak in. And we try not to let ourselves be known. We tried that the last time. We had some gear. We ended up suckered into lead an investigation. Nay, but that's okay. They were our friends. We're all for it. And
That's no problem.
but we sneak into those and get a taste of what the environment is and think of, do we want to get this for an all-nighter? And then we get, yeah. And that's how we do it for the big venues.
Not too bad. So, being in that area, I take it you've probably been to Gettysburg and investigated out in there.
Actually, I think that's where we met these two guys.
Gettysburg?
Well, we met you before, but then we
got to know you better.
we got to know you better at Gettysburg.
I
At the
think
bash.
everybody got to know everybody better in Gettysburg.
You guys heard of the big battlefield bash in Gettysburg?
What's that?
Have you heard of the big battlefield bash?
Battlefield Bash. It's
In
for all
Gettysburg.
wounded warriors.
Yeah, it's a big paracon.
No, I haven't heard of that one.
It's
So,
the paracon itself is kind of a big party, but we actually Donnie and I didn't get to investigate much, but you guys investigated Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Wandered around the battlefields a little bit and kind of spoke to some of the spirits out there. And I wouldn't say it was an official investigation, but it was enough to kind of get a few answers.
yeah.
They were drinking water.
Familiar with Gettysburg.
They okay. They liked it.
So, did you have any experiences when you were out there at Gettysburg?
These two did, and they won't tell you.
Yeah, they may not tell you.
What happened in Gettysburg?
That's all right. If you don't want to say, that's fine. It's up to you.
Merlin might. Give me Mike. Come on.
Trying to think what.
Oh, we drove through the field right there, and before you said something, I told you, I go, whoa, you feel that? I think we drove through a regiment. Got that energy right there.
I very distinctly remember asking them. I was walking around with my spirit box, talking to them, and I asked them if they were still fighting, and they said yes. Another time I went to Gettysburg because I was early on trying to figure out all this stuff that I've had all my life, but I never put to any use other than, hey, there's a ghost over there. So I really wanted to find out what a battlefield felt like. So if I was on one again or ran across it, I would understand what it was. And so I went with some friends up to Gettysburg, and we got out to go travel the battlefield, and I had my little GoPro with me, and I'm walking around looking at all the stuff, and stepped foot onto the field just away from the circle of trees that they have there. It's the battlefield around that. And that was the last thing I remembered until I woke up in the backseat of a car in West Virginia trying to figure out what happened.
Wow. That's a heck of an experience.
Yeah, it was very disturbing. I have little bits and pieces of it that kind of came back, but I finally found my GoPro and looked at the footage, and apparently something happened. I went down in the field. I was crawling around. I was crying. I was trying to get off the battlefield. A friend came over and got me. They took me back up to the car. I very distinctly remember some gentleman as we were going back to the car that told me to keep a stiff jaw. And I remember wanting to hit him.
Wasn't me.
I don't know who he was. And then for a few days after that, whoever it was that had come in contact with me out there on the field, my friends that were in the car driving were talking to this person through me. And the GoPro was still going. So you have my voice and then you have the spirit that was within me talking at the same time and giving the same answer, but in two different ways. And then when he finally left, he decided to follow me home and stand in my bedroom in the corner for a couple of days. That was fun.
Marlon Stalker.
Not a Civil War stalker.
Yep. Sounds like the way you're describing that. It sounds like he was using you as a medium or a channel in order to reflect what he wanted to say.
Yeah, he didn't. The only thing I kept getting from him when he was in my room was that he just wanted to go home.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. That was his constant thought, was he just wanted to go home. On the battlefield, I never felt any kind of like malice coming from him for doing this. It's
Right.
I always kind of thought, well, we just kind of ran into each other on the battlefield, and kind of merged. So I really, since I don't have a whole lot of memory of what happened, I'm not sure what his motivations were, other than, what he was projecting towards me in my room, and he just wanted to go home. And I don't know how to help them. I don't know what, how do we send this guy home? We don't even know who he is.
Right.
And that's kind of sad. I hope that he made it home and did not have to go back to the battle. But I have a very bad feeling that he went right back to Gettysburg.
Yeah, it's possible. So we got another question from one of our viewers. Do you find more activity in a smaller setting versus a large group?
Yeah, large groups
Yes.
are rough. When you get lots and lots of people, more often than not, you get less activity.
Then you get contamination.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of times when we end up leading a lot of groups at events. If you go in by yourself first, you can go into a room or into a building and feel the presence around you. And then you troop in with all those people, and I don't know if they just head for the corners and watch everybody, but a lot
Guess
of
for Christmas,
times,
I'm out of here. I don't want to talk to these people. I've done this before.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes places get overhunted.
Mm-hmm.
And then the activity just drops back tremendously. But we do find smaller groups to be much more fruitful in investigations.
Especially those with open minds.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Anytime you go into a setting or anything, you should have an open mind but not to expect you're going to find anything, but to have an open mind that there could be something there.
Yeah.
We've had a few skeptics. In fact, the young lad that came back again.
Yeah.
He had done. We did tours briefly at Graffiti House. It was local, and his grandfather brought him to. It's a Halloween thing to investigate with us, and he was a skeptic, and the gears going off, and he got pushed, blamed his brother and his grandfather for doing so, and then later there was a rush of cold air come between us all, and he's like, so before he left, I'm like, are you skeptic still? I'm starting to believe. And we met him again a couple years later. it was Grandpa's birthday, and they came to Fleetwood Church and investigated with us. He got the same thing. So now he's a little more of still skeptical, which I like that.
He's being nudged in the right direction.
Right.
It's to have an open mind. I mean, if you don't have an open mind, you're not going to sense anything.
When you leave groups, there's a big difference in the group too. Some groups
are scared.
They are, and it seems to kind of hold down activities sometimes. And then you get other ones that have, I don't know, energy that's just more conducive to activity, and you end up getting more.
Because of the region, I got a question for you. Because of the region, I'm sure you probably find it more often out there. You find places and you go into it and realize that, yeah, they're full of it. It's and debunk all of their little gadgets or whatever. I've heard of some places doing that. They just want it for the attraction.
Oh yeah.
So
they set things up, and then you go in there and you debunk their whole setup.
Yeah. We've heard of places doing that before. I don't know that it's ever really been done to us.
In fact, we debunk ourselves so much. We only put out what we can explain.
Yeah.
Right.
But
in fact, we've run a bunch of evidence before these two joined us by them because we're trusting them.
Yeah.
And they're like, inconclusive, or you got something.
And then sometimes you just get something unexpected. Like when I mentioned Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, we kept hearing music. Like, music, what is that music? It's coming from down here. I hear it. It's definitely music. And then it turns out that there's an all-night gas station that runs music.
So loud.
Oh, man.
So loud. So one end of the building, like, the music's loud, but you can't comprehend what you're hearing.
Yeah, it's kind of echoing.
It's bouncing off everything.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yeah.
Yeah, track down. Where is that coming from?
Exactly.
Well, I find that when we do go out and do our investigations and stuff, I'm my own worst critic. I will watch the footage that we get and listen to the sound that we get over and over and over just to make sure there's something there if there is. If not, then I'm like, okay, didn't get anything this time where there's nothing there to get.
Yeah.
So, but I like being my own worst critic because it helps with the investigations.
Oh, definitely.
That makes us credible.
Yep.
Yeah, it does.
If we beat ourselves up and try to prove or show something we can't explain,
Uh-huh.
up to them.
Well, that's another thing too. If I do find something on my tape that I feel might be, I'll actually, I'll admit I do kind of get excited a little bit whenever it feels like it's something that's been caught. But I will want to always try to debunk it before I even release it.
Yeah.
And
fact, we did that.
Gone back to try to recreate or debunk what we caught. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
I did that. We were at one of our
we don't
cemeteries.
jump to conclusions anymore. We don't do that kind of stuff. We let the viewers decide whatever you see.
But we have a cemetery in Madison, Wisconsin here, and it's one of the oldest. In fact, it is the oldest cemetery in the city. And they have Civil War graves, they have World War I graves, World War II graves, and we were out there doing an investigation in 2019, and I was getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. So
we're mosquito bait too, also.
So my camera work was a little shaky, and it kind of looked like I may have caught something at the time. And I was very unsatisfied with what I recorded. So we went back out the following day and made sure I sat the camera on a tripod, pointed it in the exact same direction. And I actually did some walking around in that area and made sure we were there at the same time that the
we filmed 3 different locations that day.
Yeah, and and I was making certain, because I wanted to make sure if I did catch anything or not. And it turned out it was a play. It was actually a play on
Shadowing with the sunlight.
shadowing because of the sunlight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You be careful.
we got another question from our Utah viewer. Do you use crystals for protection or prayers?
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes we use crystals. Definitely use crystals. We've got the jewelry and whatnot. And since Donnie and I became Reiki masters, you can also use Reiki for protection. So we use that now too.
Merlin, you had something to say.
Yeah, you two have been quiet back there.
And usually you
Speak
can't
up.
figure up.
Well,
I love you, sweetie.
yeah, I love you too. Now you were talking about checking and debunking and doing all that, and it just brought to mind we had the place that was the private property, and we'd gotten some photographs of the outside, and we're going through the photographs, and there in this attic window was very distinct. There was no way you could pass this off as your eyes playing tricks on you. Was this ghostly face with the hands and fingerprints and fingers up on the window looking down at everybody, and I'm like, oh my God, look at this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that there's no way this can be as wow. So we went back the next day, my friend and I, and we walked around the building and waited till the exact same time that she took that photograph, went from every angle and took photographs of it again, got back home, checked it out, looked, and there the face was again, but it was only in one picture. And we're like, what the hell's going on? So when we finally got inside of the building, we actually went all the way, climbed all the way up into the attic, brought ladders in so we could get into the attic, climbed through the rafters to get over to this particular window. And we looked, and at some point, somewhere, sometime, a very long time ago, some person with a beard had gone up and pressed their face against this window to look down and had their hands on it. And the oil from their hands and their face had stuck to this. And all the dust over the years had simply built this up, had a perfect impression of hands, fingers, face. And you could only see it at certain times from certain angles. So I always wondered how many people saw that and went, it's a ghost. No, that's not a ghost. That's called greasy dust.
Yep. That is pretty interesting to have something like that.
We have people send us pictures out of the blue all the time to our page, and light anomalies are hard enough to figure out. When you were there and where the lights were and the cameras were and the people were. When they come out of the blue and you have no context and no idea, you can't say much. Then that's a really cool picture.
And that's where Timmy comes in. Timmy gets some awesome pictures.
He does. He gets
out of nothing, and we can't debunk them.
Yeah.
I think the spirits like the big boy.
They do.
Like me taking results.
They do.
They pose for you, huh?
Well, he's our ghost magnet.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go, I want to take a picture in this direction, come find out I get something.
Yeah.
Don't know why. I go, let me take a picture over here, take a few pictures. Whoop, I got something. Just like the blue.
Hey.
Something kind of drawing me that way.
But the thing is Timmy takes them methodically all together. And there will be nothing, bam.
And then something like
and then nothing.
Yeah.
So you're taking like
when he snaps them and then eats quick.
Right. So what you're doing is your shutter speed's there. So you're getting like 4 or 5 in a sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like kind of like a trail cam does.
Yeah.
So trail cams are set up to where they'll snap 3.
Yeah.
And they'll snap them like boom, 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 like just within seconds of themselves. So, and then sometimes you can catch something and sometimes you won't.
Yep.
Exactly.
And if it shows up in the middle of the series when it's being snapped really fast, that's a pretty good indication. We use trail cams a lot too. And hi, Wendy Migliori. I just saw you pop up and say hi, everybody. Hi, Wendy.
You saw somewhere?
She's a good friend of ours.
Cool.
Wendy, I just saw Wendy pop up in this one.
All right. Dave from Utah is asking another question here. What piece of equipment do you feel is your most valuable in investigating?
Marlon.
I was just going to say,
I'm going to go with Marlon for part of it, but all of our intuition is the main part. Without it, you're not going to find it.
Right. Common sense, instinct, knowledge. You're just your feelings when you're in the area. I mean, you're going to trust that more than you trust anything else or any piece.
Well, at the exchange, when we were there and we got suckered into lead a group, and activity stopped. So I'm like, all right, Christy, hang here. I'm gonna walk over here in this room, and I'm like, Christy, come here. What do you think? Yep. So we got the whole group to go in there. And so the group came in. Now, Christy's evil because while we're in the room, everybody's gear starts going off that had any. So we're going, okay. Christy asked a question. It was a trick question. What do you feel is in here? And
do you feel like it's male or female?
Yeah, male
I
or
was
female.
trying to make the point that your own senses are the most important thing that you
tune them in. If we're going to lead an investigation, you paid for it. We want you to get all the experience you can get. It's your investigation. You paid for it. And she asked the question, what do you feel? A few people said male. Said female. She turns to me and goes, Donnie, I said both. And right after that, which was so freaky, nobody had their recorders going. We all heard a baby cry.
Yeah.
And they were carrying a baby. The ones that we picked up on were carrying a baby.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
And somebody just on the stream said, where can I buy a Merlin?
You can't buy a Merlin. She's not for
can't
sale.
have her.
Nor any dolls that she has made for me. But she has a few werewolf babies in the mix.
All right.
Actually, you don't. She
You
is
what
an
we're talking about?
artisan.
I'll show you. Hang on. Y'all go ahead. I'll be right back.
The werewolves are coming out.
All right. So, where's your favorite place you've investigated? And I bet Chris probably gonna want to know that one, right?
I thought we already answered.
Favorite place we've investigated? I mean, I don't know.
Our team.
Some of our home investigations, I think, have been some of the best ones.
The thing we enjoy the most is private investigations because we bring everybody some closure or some balance in what they're experiencing.
Right. That's pretty cool.
New ghost.
And
New ghost. Nothing new.
new people. And
Aww.
Those things are cute.
Merlin made
Love
them.
it.
American creation.
They almost look like mini Ewoks, though.
But
Well,
they're
this is my son, Barkley. And this is our daughter, Wendy.
Yes. Pretty cool, huh?
And Merlin made them.
Well, there's a talent you can use and make some money on that.
There you go.
Zombie werewolf.
The zombie werewolf.
Werewolves.
They weren't supposed to be that cute.
Why not?
They're damn cute, though. You gotta admit.
Yeah.
Really,
Let me
really
come on.
super
I was
cute.
going for scary, and they turned out just
Adorable. They're
Adorable.
flipping adorable.
To tell you the truth, at
They were scary, but they turned out adorable.
the Battlefield Bash, these two were the winners.
Right. Donnie and I walked around carrying them, and people were looking at him like, "Wait, what? What was
You
that?"
have a dog. I was carrying one of those baby pouches in front of me. with Barkley in front. So he goes, "Is that real?" I'm like, "What? Is that real?" And I make him jump, and he's like, "Ah!" Paracon, what do you got to do?
Oh, definitely.
They're cute and they're lovable.
Scary.
Well, they're hardly terrifying, but okay.
Well,
Mabel's
you know,
terrifying to many.
Well, maybe.
Mabel's terrifying. Y'all
That's
wanna see-
another Merlin's creations.
You want to see Mabel?
Sure.
I'll take Mabel.
Mabel.
Mabel's sweet.
Yeah. well,
You're gonna embarrass Merlin, though.
No, Merlin,
No.
I will tell you
Very
now,
talented.
you cannot embarrass Merlin.
I don't know
It'd
what
be
you
the other
got.
way around.
usually,
Merlin may try to embarrass you.
no,
Dale asks, how long have you guys been investigating?
As a team or individually?
Individually.
Individually.
Christy and I have been 10 years or more, and you guys probably got about the same, right?
About 7 with the other team I used to be on.
Well, define investigating.
Yeah, define. Merlin's technical on those things.
Well, he asks, how long have you been in the field? And
Oh,
Oh, since,
that is cool.
That is cool.
since 20.
That is a very cool one.
This is my daughter, Maybell.
Wow.
I would
Maybe
put that up-
Merlin,
I'd
would
put
you
that
gotta
on
get your head
display
down.
anywhere.
So, baby mama.
I would put a doll like that on display.
Yeah, put it behind glass like the famous
Uh-huh.
Oh,
that's where we got it.
That's-
from.
famous Annabelle doll. It'd just be scary right then. Boom.
that's
I mean, the
all
thing
my
looks as
babies-
as it is with those eyes.
Oh, yeah.
What did I do to her eyes?
That was really
They
cool.
glow and they
Oh,
bob
that's
up
right.
and down.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I can remember what I did.
Nobody else wanted her, so I took her.
Well, she disturbed most people.
I know, and I'm disturbed.
Now, I think maybe the favorite investigation. I mean, you never know how far to get into describing these things, but we had a personal friend of ours she has an 8-year-old who can see spirits a lot like Merlin can.
Hmm.
And they had a lot of activity going on. So we went over there and figured out what was going on. And we were able to actually help some of the spirits that were there move on and quieted down the activity in the house, calmed the family, calmed the 8-year-old, were able to release some folks that wanted to go. And I think that's the most satisfying, because it's kind of a win for everybody. It's something that we love to do. We help the people living in this. So that's my favorite.
We're not your average paranormal team. We work for both the living and the dead.
There's nothing wrong with that. If you can help the living cope with the dead, or the dead cope with the living, and that's always a
Exactly.
good
And
thing.
sometimes just the dead crossing over.
Yeah.
Some have been trapped.
A lot of the spirits that are intelligent haunts, the way I understand it, a lot of them are trapped here because they haven't fulfilled something that they needed to take care of when they were living. And what they're trying to do is find a way of fulfilling that so they can cross over and go on to the next life.
This was a case where there was a dominant spirit that was holding the other ones. So that it was a slightly different situation,
Okay.
but
We kick ass.
We were able to help.
It went on for a few weeks, too.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
With Merlin's eyes, you saw the battle. That was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dale says unfinished business
Yes.
or untimely
Yeah,
death.
Periscope boy and the wolfy weird
And the
in
cat
the
thing.
black.
Cat
Yeah.
thing.
The thing.
There's a lot of weird things floating around out there that aren't just your normal spirits. It's interesting stuff. There was one at that particular place that both Merlin saw and the 8-year-old saw, and they described it the same. It was kind of like a mummified fox
Yeah.
cat looking thing. And as odd as it sounds, it was drawn by the 8-year-old, and Merlin had never seen the picture because I'm the one that knew the family. And she went there and saw the thing and described it exactly as the 8-year-old had drawn it, although she hadn't even known that the 8-year-old had drawn it. So it was a very strange situation.
And our native brother had seen it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It goes back to Indian lore.
Uh-huh.
What it was?
It was that which was.
I'm listening to the way you're describing it. The way you're describing it, it sounds like something that would be in the Indian lore.
It kind of reminded me of what is that creature from Pokemon? Remember the cat Mewtwo?
Oh, Mewtwo.
He kind of looked like Mewtwo, you know.
Did it look like Mewtwo, or did it look more like Abra?
Coming at me with its arms up in the air. I'm like, what is that?
And the weird thing, we know a Cherokee elder who had come up for our Paracon and described to us something that he had seen that he described it looked just exactly like this weird thing yeah, exactly, that Merlin and Isaac had seen. Don't know what it is, but there's a lot of weird stuff out there.
There is a lot of stuff out there that is very strange and unexplained. That's why we try to cover the entire spectrum.
So, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What's the number one place on your bucket list that you'd like to get to in the future?
That's a really good question.
In the world or
in the world?
Doesn't matter. Anywhere.
There we go.
You know, I always kind of wanted to go to some Irish castles to do some investigation.
Castle?
What?
Can't remember the name of it.
Which one? You know, nearby or far away?
England.
Which one in England? There's a boatload of them.
Oh,
Yeah, all of
Really, all of them. I would love to investigate in Europe. I really would. Scotland, Ireland. You know, I've
a lot of interesting history there.
truly. I've been over there, but I never had the opportunity to investigate.
The one I want to go to is the one that's on the ley line on top of the hill. It's a church.
Well, I know he's Rosalind Chapel.
Glastonbury tour.
Rosalind Chapel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one he's talking about. She sits on the ley line, and
Yep.
actually, if you've ever seen any videos or pictures or anything, and that one was featured in the movie the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
But if you've seen any of the pictures of the inside, it has architecture of pretty much every religion there is,
Awesome.
and it's phenomenal to see. I've seen pictures of it, and I've seen actual video of it.
I'm up for the effect
Right.
that it apparently has on people.
Yes, and then it has the links to the Templars.
Yep.
Yeah, it's supposed to have a link to the Templars as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would absolutely love to go check that out. It's just to see if I can sense any of the energy that's coming on off of it.
All right, so when we plan on this gig, you guys,
Where's Tim want to go?
Tim, where do you want to go?
any place like that.
Tim's in.
Like that?
Yeah, so maybe go to Dracula's castle.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'd like to go to the lad's castle.
Dracula's?
There you go.
That would be kind of interesting too.
Yeah. Apparently, one time it was up for sale. You guys want to buy it? We'll all
There you go.
make money and retire.
And live in Dracula's castle.
Yes, blah, blah.
Wouldn't bother me any.
You go buy a haunted place and, you know.
There's a few of them up for sale. I keep seeing them.
I have lived in a haunted house. Heck, when I grew up in California, I lived a quarter mile from a cemetery. We used to go down at night and roam around the cemetery.
Yeah, we get our starts.
Yeah. Oh, the Queen Mary. Yeah.
Right. I want the Rome. I want the Colosseum in Rome. That's what I want to investigate.
There you go.
Top of my bucket list.
So we are about at the end. So do you got anything you want to promote quick?
We'll be doing the Fleetwood Paracon again in the fall. We don't have a date set yet. Everything's a little bit hard to plan right now with the whole COVID business, but please keep an eye on it. And if anybody's out in Virginia in the fall, come to Brandy Station, Virginia, and come to our Paracon. Meet us, and I'm sure we're going to have some wonderful guests again this year.
Cool.
And if you have ghosts and need our help, we're there. We believe.
Cool.
Thank you, Egon.
I don't have the wand.
Right.
Okay, we'll be back Friday with Shane Courtson. If you guys can stick around so that we can do a quick little bonus.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, we are